Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Ferguson of South's Finest Meats, the official sponsor of the Stingray Show, has a message for you.
Everything we do here is fresh and custom made, custom to order. I tell people when they come in, if you don't see what you like, ask somebody. We've got the capability to process it, make it. If you want a different blend of hamburger meat, we'll do your brisket blend. We'll do your chuck blend. We'll do your sirloin blend. We do all that right here. We are a butcher shop. That's what we do. So please don't be afraid to ask if you don't see what you like. We can make you any size patty you want. We can make you any amount you want. People call me and say, well, how many patties come in the box? Well, ma'am, how many would you like in a box? You want 12, we'll put 12. You want 25, we'll put 25.
That's just one of the many things that South's Finest Meats has to offer, the official butcher shop of the Stingray Show. We have made it to the week. It's Friday, ladies and gentlemen. We have made it to the weekend. We've just got a couple more hours to go, and college football weekend is upon us. And Heath, we have a big-time guest joining us a little bit later on as the SEC Network's on and former Alabama player and safety Roman Harper. I almost called him a national champion, but unfortunately that never happened for him. But he was a Super Bowl champion there with New Orleans.
Yeah, Roman Harper. Always love his takes on SEC Network. I'm going to tell him that, by the way. Look forward to having Roman on the show. The reason I like Roman so much is because I think he has so much common sense and he speaks it. And he picks up on the little things. You do the small things right, it leads to big things. I teach that to my teams that I coach. I teach that to my kids. When I was a manager, general manager, supervisor, whatever, in my many years of work, I always tell my teams that. You do the small things right, it will always lead to big things. Concentrate on doing the small things exactly right. And that's what kind of Roman does. He shows about the small things. He mentions the small things. And he's really big on, if you do those small things right, big things will happen for you.
All right, so Heath, let's go on ahead and start the pre-show with a little bit of fun talk. And today is November the 7th, and looking at the birthdays for November the 7th, we actually have a singer who was born on this day, and he is known for songs of The Seventh Son and Secret Agent Man. Happy birthday to the great Johnny Rivers, who was born on November the 7th of 1942. So Heath, let's start the show with our fave 5 Johnny Rivers songs of all time.
Is Johnny Rivers still with us?
Yes, he was born in 1942 and he is still living today.
Wow. I don't know if
I don't know if he is still touring, but I do know that he is still with us.
Well, that's going to put him right there in his 80s if he was born in 42.
Yes.
So I would love if Johnny's doing one more show somewhere. I wouldn't mind. I would love to be there in person, but even if I watched it online, I would be tickled to death to see that. But love Johnny Rivers, man. Steven, my fave 5. Swaying to the music, love that. It beat out La Bamba Twist and Shout. I like that song that he does. I like his version of it. But number 5, I'm going Swaying to the Music. Number 4, Baby I Need Your Lovin'. Number 3, Rockin' Pneumonia and the Boogie Woogie Flu. Love that song. Such a fun song, man. And it really was the vibe at the time of where rock and roll was. Number 2, I was singing this song the other day. I actually sent it to an old friend of mine. We had an inside joke about this song. But The Seventh Son, I'm the one, only one. I'm the seventh son. Love that song. But number 1 for me, man, I think it's one of the greatest rock songs of all time. It's got a vibe to it. It's a fun sing-along song. It should be a go-to for most people in karaoke because it'll bring the place down. Memphis. Love that song.
How did I know you were going to do number 1 at Memphis? Because you live near Memphis.
Like the song Walking in Memphis, like I hate that song. Like, I think that's the worst song ever. That doesn't describe Memphis at all. And
Right.
this song by Johnny Rivers doesn't describe, but it's such a great storytelling song. Long Distance Operator, Give Me Memphis, Tennessee. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I just love that song.
Heath, unfortunately, Johnny Rivers is no longer touring and retired from live performances. He announced in 2019 he was doing his farewell tour, and his final performance live was in July of 23.
Wow. I will have to look that up on
Yep.
YouTube this weekend. Hopefully, I'll get the time to do that. I got a tournament in Grenada that I got to be at all weekend, but maybe I'll get some time. So, what are your favorite 5 songs, Stephen? Johnny Rivers' favorite 5 songs.
My least favorite is Memphis because I'm tired of it. They play it so
That's
much.
awesome. That's why.
At number 5, I'm going with The Tracks of My Tears. At number 4, I'm going with Rockin' Pneumonia, just like you had on your list. At number 3, I'm going with Mountain of Love, The Mountain of Love. At number 2, I'm going with Secret Agent Man. And at number 1, I'm going with a slower song, but I love it. Summer Rain Taps at My Window.
That is a fun song. You know what? Johnny Rivers is kind of a song that you can just kind of put on doing housework or doing a chore,
Yeah,
building a desk or whatever you got to do. But you could just put his music on. Like, oh, I hadn't heard this in forever. Like, oh man, that's such a great song. Like, he has a
yeah,
wide variety of songs, and they're all really different. I mean, just a huge
yeah.
variety. So yeah, I might rock out to some Johnny Rivers this weekend.
And he's an honorable mention,
Oh
Maybelline.
yeah, great, dude. Like, we could probably sit here and talk about 20 different Johnny Rivers songs. Like, we could do that.
Yeah,
But hey, for everyone, we're going to do our show. We're going to talk to our good friend Roman Harper of the SC Network. Roman's been on the show before. Love Roman's takes. We already went over that. But after the show, we're going to talk about who do you think is the absolute best coach in the SEC right now. Look, you could say, well, Kirby Smarts gets paid the most. Kirby's clearly the best. Could Kirby win at Missouri? Could Kirby do what Clark Lee did at Vanderbilt? Could Kirby win in Oxford like Lane Kiffin is? Could Kirby win in Baton Rouge? I think he could. But could Clark Lee win just as much or more at Georgia? I don't know if he could or not. What about Sark?
right.
Could Sark win more at Georgia than he is at Texas? I don't know. We'll talk about who you think is the best coach right now in the SEC. Hey, everyone's saying Lane Kiffin wants to be their next head coach. Is that because they know they can't get Kirby? I mean, there's something going on, man. There's something going on.
Heath, I'm going to go ahead and we are going to start the show with Roman Harper now, as that is going to put a wrap on the pre show. And right after this little bit of a advertising, we are going to begin the show with Roman Harper. And then after that, Heath and I will return with our post show talk. We all enjoy the changing of the seasons. Fall is a special time to be thankful for our families and many blessings. It is also a great time, though, to review your insurance coverages. Alpha Insurance and hometown agent Jeff Nee can help you personalize your insurance needs. The more you protect, the more you save. With helpful customer service teams right here to serve you in Alabama and over in Mississippi, you can count on Alpha to provide the insurance plan that provides the protection that you need. For all your auto, home, life, and business insurance needs, call Alpha agent Jeff Nee or drop by his office at 202 McFarland Boulevard East, Suite 101 in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And remember, with Jeff Nee, the more you protect, the more you save. So, Heath, We are about to bring on an SEC legend, and he played at the University of Alabama. He is also now a part of the SEC network and a part of the SEC Nation. Roman Harper is about to join us to talk a little bit of college football and the ins and outs of the coaching carousel right now. Roman, how are things with you on this Friday morning?
They're doing well. I can't complain. Really looking forward to being in Starkville this weekend. Should be fun. Starkville's always pretty fun. And, you know, I think I was talking to Matt Stinchcomb yesterday or a couple days ago, and he was just like, Starkville is really fun. Nobody knows about it. And they kind of, I think they kind of like it that way. So
We do like it that way.
yeah, I was like, everybody's like, it's sneaky good, but it's so sneaky nobody knows about it. So and they kind of keep it that way. So I always have a good time when I'm here.
Yeah, Steve Spurrier Jr., when he coached with Mike Leach, that's exactly what he said. He said, "How do you like living in Starkville?" He goes, "Sneaky, sneaky good. This place is great." But used to live in Starkville for 11 years, and we absolutely love it. It's still a small town. There just happens to be an SEC university there, and we want to keep it small town. But Roman, thank you for joining us again on the show. I always enjoyed you on the show, and the reason I enjoy you so much is because your takes are the voices I hear in my head. I was like, that's exactly what I think. I always enjoy your takes about things. But with that, we were talking on the show earlier this morning, or earlier this week, I should say, about how many teams from the SEC we're going to get in postseason this year. Out of the 16, 15 are still eligible. How many do you think that we're going to get in? There's none that's already in.
As far as the bowl game, which means postseason, so now you get to practice and like you get time to develop your young guys. Like I don't think enough. We don't talk about that part of it enough, right? Like that's when your freshmen all of a sudden were looked at as sophomores, and like, hey, like you can start to see yourself envisioning yourself in the defense going forward, or how it may be used in the offense. Because at the end of bowl practice, we let the young guys go out there for 2 or 3 periods and just go beat up on each other and see who starts to stand out. So, because we all finally get in the weight room for a year. We don't look like our high school selves. We start to grow a little bit. So for me, I always really enjoy the bowl practices as well. I think Mississippi State, man, they're one win away from getting in, from locking in, start out 4-0, have found multiple ways to lose game within the SEC. Multiple ways to lose a game, all right? Now they figured out one way to win a game as well, which was great to go back there and be able to do that coming back against Arkansas. Just a lot of crazy live action. A lot of different guys stepped up for them. So I really enjoyed watching that because I've been rooting for Mississippi State all year. I talked about them in the offseason, how, they're going to knock off a couple of SEC teams this year. Nobody's going to talk about it, and it's fine. But that I really thought that they could get bowl eligible, and that'd be huge for this staff and everything. So really looking forward to them. Maybe, how cool would it be to get that last win, whether it's versus Georgia this weekend or versus Ole Miss in Starkville the last weekend in the Egg Bowl. Like for that rivalry, stuff like that kind of just fits. And so how good would that be? I would let the Mississippi State people talk about that. I'm out of that, but it would be kind of cool. I could see everybody else getting into bowl games though. It'd be very interesting. I don't know about Auburn. They're teetering. They're teetering right now, which a lot of people like myself would have said, I see Auburn getting 7-8 wins this year. If they didn't get that, I thought Hugh Freeze would be in trouble. I didn't think they would not be able to score 10 points versus Kentucky team who hadn't beat an SEC team in almost over a year and a half. So, like, I didn't see that happening. And so it's been some things that I didn't expect, but a lot of things in the SEC this year that I kind of like, okay, I could totally see that. I didn't see Brian Kelly getting fired this year. I thought LSU would be better. I thought I didn't see Ole Miss being as good as they are this year. I thought last year was going to be their year that they had to make the run. Instead, boom, I was a year early and I was, too early to the party. And that's not always fun. So you give Ole Miss credit for winning the way they have. And then you got to look at a team like Texas A&M, I give them credit for winning games because they look really good on tape. But to be honest with you, They've beaten 5 SEC teams. They're 5-0 right now, and 4 out of those 5 teams that they beat all fired their coach. So
Yes.
who have they beat? And so it's the same question that comes up when you look at a team like Oregon or some of the other big, like a couple of these Big Ten teams that are like, man, they're good, but man, who have they beaten? And the teams that they've beaten, and that's what you're going to get with the way the schedule kind of works out. It's kind of it's a positive, but you got to give Texas A&M credit because they do look like a really, really good team.
So, Roman, everybody likes to talk about their school is the best job. But in your opinion, of the ones that are open right now, Florida, LSU, Auburn, or Arkansas, which one do you feel like is the top best job in the SEC?
So naturally, I want to say LSU because I think LSU is a better job. LSU has a lot of things going on right now. So if you include those outside factors, I think Florida's possibly the best job. I don't love Gainesville. I like Baton Rouge more, even though Baton Rouge is kind of ratchet. But I like it though because I'm a Louisiana guy, like through and through because of how many years I spent there in New Orleans. And then at that point, but you also got to understand, like Auburn's
So, Heath, we are about to bring on.
been able to accumulate. And you got to understand, in the state of Alabama, there's only college football. And you get to pick one of two sides. That's how it goes. And so, like, because of that, you're not going to get a much better fan base than what Auburn has. Auburn is loyal because when you sign up and go and choose to go to Auburn, you're already signing up to be a little bit different. You choose to go to the smaller school. You choose to go to the one that's an underdog. Like you're more battle tested. You see a lot more things than what Alabama fan. It's easy to be an Alabama fan. That's easy. You know,
Right.
You choose the long, hard road when you go to Auburn, and they know that. And I respect Auburn for that. I got so many friends that went to Auburn. Like my hometown is closer to Auburn than it is Tuscaloosa. So like I just kind of grew up around it, and ultimately I'm glad I made the choice I did to go to Tuscaloosa. But still, Auburn's a really good job too. In Arkansas, you can't sleep on them because Arkansas has pride. They have a lot of money, but they just have not won a lot. And traditionally, they're not where these other programs are at. But that doesn't mean they can't win or knock off teams and be more competitive on a more consistent basis. Just what it seems like what happened at Arkansas this year just seems a little off and kind of snakish. I just don't like it. And we're going to see how they kind of bounce back.
Roman, let me ramble real quick before I get to my question. We've talked about it on the show that we think that the consistent teams in the SEC are heavily going to benefit through the transfer portal this year. All these teams that are making new hires, we think they will suffer in the transfer portal because we think there's going to be a mass exodus out of a lot of these SEC schools making coaching changes. And even if there's not a mass exodus, you're still going to lose some key pieces going somewhere else. With all of that being said, you got a crazy governor talking about things, and talking about an athletic director who hired 2 national champions,
yes,
in baseball and in women's basketball, and then he's running him out of town on the rails. And then you look at Auburn, and it looks like the boosters cannot get out of their way, and I think that's why Auburn is struggling. And Alabama kind of went through that until Nick Saban got there and kind of put everybody in their place. And so you're kind of seeing this rough shot. Florida, it doesn't work unless they got an offensive coach. Arkansas, they make the craziest, weirdest hires. What in the world is going on at these SEC schools? But I do know this. All that craziness is the reason why the SEC is so great. It's the craziness. That's why it's there. So with that being said, you don't have to give the school, but who are some coaches that we might, not will, but might see at an SEC program next year?
I don't. Oh man, it's just because you just don't know. Like I hate trying to predict too much into what coaches. I would say this: I wouldn't be shocked if more coordinators are hired, because ultimately coordinators have kind of worked out. Kirby Smart, first-time head coach at Georgia, worked out. Dan Lanning, first-time head coach at Oregon, worked out. All of these guys were coordinators because everybody's like, oh, they don't have the experience. They don't have this. I'm like, I think that stuff's over with. Like, get out of that. Too many people trying to be like dinosaurs and keep it to the old guard. And like dinosaurs died for a reason. You got to be like the crocodile, bro. You better evolve. You got to catch up with the times. You got to go with younger coaches that can relate and can sit up there and get on their vibe, the young people's vibe, and be able to, because I think you bring up a very valid point talking about the transfer portal and how much that will impact these next couple of years and seasons, because now next year rev share kicks in. Yes. And so when the rev share kicks in, everybody's going to have just a little bit of money to play with, right? It's like Monopoly. We all start off with the same amount. Now, what you do on top of that is up to you, right? And however you finagle that, that's up to you. But everybody's going to have a little something in the kitty to play with. And so I think the transfer portal, a lot of teams will have a little bit more ability and wiggle room to do some things. And so we will have a lot of bit of movement in that. And it's just so many jobs out there right now. And what I want to lead off with talking about the coaches is that so often people, especially in America, we just throw money at a problem and think that's going to fix it. Mm-hmm. Well, money doesn't fix everything. And what I've learned about money is that money only makes you more who you are. And so when you have people that are happy, that have found joy in their life, and they already have money, it doesn't move them. And so you can't just offer me more money and like, oh yeah, let me go do that. Like Lane Kiffin will be the first big domino that goes. And he has talked about it, how the last 3 or 4 years, everybody brings up Lane Kiffin's name in every job, every single year. And he talks to his players about that. And he's been very open and candid about that, because that means his team is ultimately winning and he's had success. Yes. But, he has found himself in Oxford. He's also the same guy that got fired on the tarmac leaving USC and got fired, ran out of Tennessee in Knoxville. And so when those things go through, when you go through things like that, you're not always so quick to just jump out and go chase, because it's not always greener on the other side. It's not always green on the other side of the fence. And so when you find happiless, you can't put a dollar amount on that, especially with people that already have money. Like, I'm already making $5-8 million. Oh, what's another 10 million? Like, what's another $2 million when somebody that's making 8? I'm telling you, it ain't that much, especially when I'm already getting taxed on it. It's like, it's just different. Trust me. I've made enough amount of money in my life. I'm fortunate and blessed to where you look at some things like, ultimately, what makes me happy? And if I got to pick up and move from New Orleans to Buffalo for an extra $3 million, I don't know if it's worth it. I think I'll just stay where I'm at for less money, because ultimately I'm happy. They're watching their kids grow up in certain schools, in certain places. Like, you just can't put a dollar amount on happiness. So it'd be interesting to see if John Summerall stays, if somebody goes and get Dillingham from Arizona State, somebody goes out and tries to pick these other coaches from different places, and who tries to flirt with who. And can they get Missouri's coach to stay in Missouri? Can they get it's just a lot of different moving pieces. I'm really intrigued to see what will fall out, because there's so many jobs. And the crazy thing is, I don't think it's done yet.
Roman, I really hate to bring up something negative, but we've got to talk about it. We all love the SEC. We love the product on the field. You're a former SEC legend, and as now you are covering the SEC at the SEC Network. But let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that is the SEC officiating. Give us your thoughts on that whirlwind of SEC officiating, please.
Well, I saw some refs got fired earlier this year. So like I guess that's what it is. I'm just an old school like purist. So like I'm a football purist. So like I don't care about referees. I don't, I come from I'm still in the vein of like you don't let referees, like it doesn't matter. Like they don't affect the game. Like they affect the game by a call, but you can't let one play beat you the same way you can't let one call beat you. Like I come from the vein and from the place of, dude, we beat them so bad it doesn't matter about the refs. Like you just take them completely out of it. And so I just, a lot of people are just sad, and it also, it doesn't help when you can just slow mo everything. Everything can be manipulated a little bit when you slow it down, and you can get anything from all these different angles to try and look about and say something about whatever. I saw everybody was complaining about the Florida game, Florida Georgia game this week. Whatever it is, it's something every week. I mean, tell DJ Lagway to play better. He could have played better. All right. And you got a strong enough arm to set your feet and throw the ball. You're trying to roll to your left and throw it with just your arm. Set your feet. Do the little things correctly all the time. And so ultimately, it's still up to the players to make the play. And you can't sit up here, whether it's a bad call or not, you got to be able to play through it. Like that's just the mentality of a player. For somebody of like myself, where I don't care about referees. Everybody makes bad calls. Everybody was mad about the Auburn versus Oklahoma, where they had the hideout player. And all they asked me, like, well, they said it was illegal. I'm like, yeah, well, as a safety, which I played, you're supposed to check.
Yeah.
That's part of your job. Like you look to the sideline and make sure everybody, that's just what you have to do. So for me, there is no excuse because I'd never had one. So because I never had one, I'm not going to give one out to somebody else to say like, oh yeah, it's okay, to have the excuse of poor me. And so I would treat the fans the same way I would treat my son and tell him, guess what, son? Life ain't fair. So get over it. And not only that, but the second thing is, and you need to answer this one, is what are you going to do about it? You going to sit here and complain, or you going to go out there and make a play and do something about it?
Right.
That's what I would tell any other fan, and that's what I would tell the same thing I tell my son, which I do tell my son that because I don't do that whining crap. So, yeah, that's my answer in a short way. Sorry. I'm sorry I didn't talk about the refs, but that's just my opinion.
Roman, I'm going to ask you a simple yes or no question. I'll answer it first, and then I'm going to go on to my next question. Lane Kiffin in Oxford next year. Yes, I think he'll still be there next year. Your thoughts on Lane Kiffin? Is he going to be in Oxford if you had to guess right now?
Yes, I think he is. I think he's happy. I think it's something to be said about, finding yourself, finding joy and being in a place that appreciates you. And you can do whatever you want. You can write your own script there. You don't get that everywhere else. I'd also say his family plays a big part in that as well. His ex-wife's back. His daughter's in school, wherever she is. And watching his son play quarterback at Oxford High, you don't get that everywhere else. I'm telling you, it's just different.
Kenny Dillingham out of Arizona State. I think he is a young Mike Gundy. He is just over the top. He's just fiery. He's barking. His emotions are on his sleeve. He's going to bark about something and everything. He would be deadly either at LSU or Florida. It would be insane. The fan base will just take after him. Game days would be insane when they start winning. To see him throw a fit down there, I mean, he's basically Bobby Knight of football. I mean, he's just over there always barking all the time, nonstop. What's a better situation for him? What's a better fit, I should say? What's a better fit? Would he fit better with the Cajun Crazies down there in Baton Rouge, or would he be a little bit better there on the East Coast and be with the Florida Gators?
I think that fit would have to depend on him.
Okay.
Look, I do know one thing is that I love the attitude. I love the ability to get guys going. But Kurt Cignetti has changed the outlook on college football.
Oh, yeah.
Like you no longer get 4 years. And the one thing that when I was talking to one of my former teammates who's up at Maryland was, Indiana just walked the dog with them. He's like, dude, they are so well coached. a good coach is the most underrated thing in college football right now, because everybody can pay players. So you can't just stack talent anymore. So what is the real true separator when everybody has talent? Coaching and doing the little things correctly, not when you want to, not when it's comfortable or convenient, but all the time. And that is why Indiana's winning football games, because every single person on that team is exactly where they're supposed to be.
Right.
All right. They brought them over from James Madison and everywhere else. They are well coached, oiled machine. That is what Arizona State Dillingham does as well. The players are coached well, but I've also seen some lacks in the coaching and some of the things that I've seen them do defensively in primetime moments. And so, winning cures all. I'm not going to say where's a better fit for him, because I could see him being successful either place. I think LSU's it's just different at both of them for different reasons. Like Florida has this I don't want to say false, but this bravado that is the Florida Gators, this like we're supposed to be this, and this, even though they ain't really won like that. Like they have won, but they've also had a long periods where they haven't won, right?
Yeah.
Like they don't seem to realize that, but that part is true. LSU really was never that great until Nick Saban came through.
Yeah.
But they have this sense of security that we're supposed to win these championships because, yes, they do recruit great. Yes, the state of Louisiana has a ton of talent. And, yes, it's easy to love LSU. And when LSU's good, they are really dang good. All right? And their biggest problem is also their greatest attribute, which is that their last three coaches all won national championships.
Yes.
And thank you for saying that.
And they're like that, but that's what that changed their expectation, their mindset. Like, oh, we're supposed to just win national championships. It doesn't matter. And so because they had the last 3 out of the 4 win them, that's the standard now. And so we'll see how it goes. But it really all started with Nick Saban, who built it all. And then the other ones kind of won off of that. And that's gone now because kids they only know, the young kids now only know Nick Saban at Alabama. They don't know anything about LSU.
You mentioned LSU, and you have a coach and Coach O who struggled with the English language but won a national title. You had a coach that ate grass on the sideline in Les Miles and won a national title.
And said he didn't call timeout or like spike it when he did. Like everybody saw you, dude.
And couldn't even clap correct, but he won a national title. And then you had Nick Saban, which started it all, came from Michigan State. Why did it not work with Brian Kelly? Because he clearly knows how to coach. He is a great coach. And I won't be shocked if he goes off somewhere else and wins at a super high level. But why did it not work with Brian Kelly down in Baton Rouge?
I think because in Louisiana, it's all about the people. And if you don't get along with the people, or the people don't get along with you, or they have fractures, because now that he's gone, you'll see, now you hear everything that's coming out, right? That he didn't get along, this people didn't like him, blah, blah, blah. All I would say is this. I did not like the way he was portrayed in the SEC thing on Netflix, Any Given Saturday, where you see him, he's kind of just like barking at everybody. And I want my head coach to let his coaches coach.
Yes.
So when the defensive backs mess up, I want the defensive back coach to step in and talk and get it corrected. I don't need the head coach over talking and like telling DBs how to do this or that, when I don't think Brian Kelly ever played defensive back. Like it'd be different if he played. Like I don't think that's his specialty. And so when I see that, and then when I see him jumping on this one and jumping on that one, and I understand as a head coach, you got to be involved with every group. But I also think you're supposed to have the staff and the people around you. Like I talked about earlier, how coaching is at a premium right now.
Oh, yeah.
Like that is what you have to have. So the staff and everybody else around you to be able to teach these guys little techniques that's going to help them have winning formula and winning ball. Like I didn't like that part of it. And so I just didn't get great vibes off of the SEC Any Given Saturdays about Brian Kelly at LSU. And it's just unfortunate that their offense stunk so bad. They should have just got rid of Joe Sloan.
Yeah.
Like Joe Sloan was not a great play caller for LSU. And when The one that's at Notre Dame, Denbrock.
Mm-hmm.
When Denbrock left and went to Notre Dame, LSU's offense took a huge hit the last 2 years. And when you watch LSU with that amount of talent on offense, that they just cannot score, and they're not in sequence, and they just cannot stack back to back really good plays versus really good competition. Like, it's a problem. You can't tell me you have first round quarterback, really good, all these other players, and we can't score. Like, well, who's the issue?
Right.
If you're not getting your players to play at their potential, then you have to look at the coach.
Roman, I know that you were on a time crunch to get to another show, so my final thing for you, who should be on upset alert tomorrow in the SEC as we move down the stretch towards the SEC championship game and the playoffs?
All right. Number one, Georgia has to be smart about this. Going into Starkville is always hard. I'm a little kind of up in the air though, because Starkville, Mississippi State, like, did you take sometimes when you're in the war, right? You don't have time to breathe. You don't have time to blink.
Right.
You finally won a game. Did you blink or breathe? Right? Well, all of a sudden, you may be relaxed. Mississippi State can't do that. You got to stay hunkered down, stay in it. Because Georgia's a team that's maybe gettable. And then my other ones are going to be Auburn at Vanderbilt. I steal this word from Kirby Smart. I heard him say it last week, talking about Florida and that Florida-Georgia game. He's like, we got to be ready to withstand the wave early, because Florida's going to come out with that interim coach energy, right? Auburn may have that same interim energy versus Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt still has a lot of things on their plate, man. Like, the season's still out there for you to get. And so I would say Vanderbilt continue to push forward and try and make sure they have to stand up versus an Auburn team that could be competitive. They're really good defensively as well. And then my last one would have to be the Texas A&M game. Like, that they should handle up.
Right.
But we're going to see. Like I said, Texas A&M, because of the teams they played, I'm wondering, like, okay, can they keep it going? That's it. I think they will be able to, but it'll be interesting to see, because every week we get an upset. You just don't know who it is. Last week it was Kentucky over Auburn.
Yeah, Roman. This will be my very last question. I'm going to squeeze it in before we walk out the door. Teams that are making a change and hiring a head coach in the SEC, heaven forbid if a team loses their head coach in the SEC, I think this is the absolute worst time that could happen. Meaning, if Florida did take a Lane Kiffin, that would be devastating to Ole Miss. If someone came in and hired a Big 12 school, came in and hired Jeff Lebby and he left, that would just be devastating. I think the schools who are not prepared right now and kind of behind, is it going to be just very devastating with just this coaching carousel craziness, because it's already out of control? Is it going to be that damaging as much as I think it is?
I think it would. It's a reason why I don't think any other coach, like, it hasn't happened in like forever, I believe, where an SEC coach has left one school and gone to another one. And so when you start to see this start of stuff, you look, man, it's the same thing if, like, one dude is dating a sister and all of a sudden leaves her and starts dating another sister. Like, it's not going to be good at the family reunion. I'm telling you, like, this is what I'm saying. It's not going to be good. And so we'll see, because somebody's going to go flirt with Clark Lee.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Of Vanderbilt. Somebody's going to go flirt with Missouri's coach. I'm slipping my name right now. Eli Drinkowitz.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to go flirt with Lane Kiffin. And so it's going to be interesting. And I'm not even talking about coordinators. So it's going to be really interesting to see who stays, who goes, and ultimately who chooses happiness at where they're at before they go try and date somebody else.
Roman, before we let you get out of here, please let everybody know where you are going to be tomorrow in Starkville, where they can come and watch the SEC Nation live.
Okay, so I don't know the name of the place, but it's right outside the stadium where all the couches and stuff will be at. Like, that's where we normally set up. There we go. Can't wait. I actually love getting there early in the morning to see that, like, there is no reserved spot. It's just like get in where you fit in, first come, first serve. People just sleep out there. I think that's super cool about Starkville that nobody else does. Everybody else is kind of like, oh, this is our spot. We pay this. That don't happen in Stark Vegas, baby.
Yes.
It's just get it in how you fit in. And I can't wait to hear all the cowbells because I know it will be a lot of them. That's all I'm saying. I would also tell anybody that doesn't know, to get your first cowbell, it must be given.
That's right.
You. It must be gifted to you. I've been gifted my first one already. I may put it in my bag. I probably will not because I don't want that thing rattling around, but we'll see. Actually, maybe that's the question I'll ask is how should I travel with my cowbell?
Yes.
How do I travel
Put your socks. Put your socks in there. It won't cling around.
Socks in. Got it.
Hey,
okay. I was just
what restaurants you hitting up while you're in Starkville?
So I was told I need to go to Anthony's. I'm going to try and go there.
Anthony's is like go Blues night if you can.
When is this?
Blues night. Oh man. Oh gosh, it's been so long since I've lived in Starkville. It's either Friday night or Saturday night. Of course, Saturday night's the game, but they'll be open late. But Blues night is where it's at Anthony's. Amazing.
Okay. All right. Deal.
The locals will tell you. They know when Blues night is. They'll tell you.
All right.
Roman, thank you. We'll let you get to your other hit. Thank you, and enjoy your time over in Starkville, my friend.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me.
Steak at Anthony's, and hey, you can bring your own wine in if you want to.
Even better.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. Heath, you gotta love the SEC network and all of the fine individuals that join us from up there. Peter Burns, Roman Harper, and others as well. Really do want to thank them for taking time to join us always here on the Stingray Show. And Roman is a class act.
Yeah, I'm starting to think about food already. I kind of wish I was in Starkville. I'd go to Obie's. I'd get that rotel to start off with. I'm going with the jambalaya because that's my go-to there. My kids always get the chicken tenders. Those chicken tenders are just fat, huge, and awesome. And, I'll get some of their seasoned fries and the dad tax, take it off the plate because they're not going to finish that chicken finger, so I'll have that as well. But I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it to Obie's for lunch or dinner. So there you go.
Heath, you mentioned Blues night, and I was thinking you were talking about the restaurant Georgia Blue over there because that place is fantastic.
Blues night, man. They bring in a blues band. Man, I cannot remember. I used to go to it all the time, and it has been so long since I've lived in Starkville. But yeah, they either did it on Friday night or Saturday night. I want to say it's Saturday night. So after the game, that place will be hopping. But man, Anthony's that's some good food. You can bring in I'm not a wine person. I'm not a big drinker, but people want to bring in their own wine, blah, 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 with their steak or whatever they were going to have to eat that night. But man, Blues night is where it is always at. And I also love the blues. Even if you don't like the blues, you'll enjoy Blues night. But if you love the blues, man, great steak, great music, great time, great restaurant, great vibe. You miss it out, Steven.
Man, and I'm going to leave you with this. I miss that restaurant, The Veranda. I loved that place when I was going over there regularly, and it got shut down due to COVID.
Yeah, we need to talk to some former players that played under Jackie Sherrill. Jackie Sherrill had his retirement party there, and he invited all of his former players there. And I was in media at the time, and they weren't even letting people in the parking lot. Like, they took the whole restaurant. They said they drank the place dry. There was not a single bottle left. Every cigar was smoked, and the kitchen was running out of food. And Coach Sherrill picked up the tab. But they said that I think Tony Dorsett and J.J. Johnson got into fisticuffs over who was the better running back. There were some crazy stories from that night. We need to get that's a show we'll do in the summer. We need to find out what happened that night. Let's get like half a dozen people talking about what happened that night at the Veranda. But man, the Veranda was such a great place. It's closed down. I'll tell you this: the folks who have never been to Starkville, and we've talked about it this week on the show. People have talked about it. It's such a sneaky good place. There are more great, not good, but great restaurants in Starkville. The only place that has better restaurants per square mile is Key West, Florida, other than Starkville, Mississippi.
Yes.
I mean, you can get almost anything you want, and it is all excellent in Starkville. And that's just another one of those hidden gems that most people don't know about Starkville. The food scene is phenomenal and over the top there.
All right, Heath, that is going to put a wrap on the Roman Harper interview and this edition of the Stingray Show after we run these couple of little ads to pay the bills here on the Stingray Show. We are going to begin the post-show stuff that Heath and I always like to do, so stay tuned after these ads right here, and we will do the post-show right after this. I am representing a clothing company right here in Tuscaloosa that is called J&J Apparel. If you like the Mississippi State shirt that I have on, you can find all of their Mississippi State apparel as well as Auburn, Alabama, and Ole Miss at jnjapparel.com. They are located right here in Tuscaloosa, but they also have other merchandise for other SEC schools as well. So once again, if you do like this polo that I've got on and the Walking Bulldog, go to jnjapparel.com and get all of your SEC merch right there for Ole Miss, Alabama, Auburn, and Mississippi State with J&J Apparel. I tell you what, man, Roman Harper always brings the fire, doesn't he?
He really does. That's why I love Roman, man. He's a defensive-minded kind of guy. I am too. When it comes to football, I concentrate more on defense than I do on offense. But Roman, man, he just sees the small things in such fine and great detail. And he mentions that, he talks about that, whether it's good or bad, he finds the smallest, most detailed thing. That's why he was such a hugely successful player and had a great career. But yeah, love Roman's takes, man.
All right. So Heath, we are in the post show now, and you talked about who is the best coach right now in the SEC. I'm actually going to give you mine, and this might disappoint a lot of people out there because everybody's like, Kirby Smart, man. Kirby Smart is the most one who has won the most recent national championship, blah, 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 blah. I'm going Kalen DeBoer. And let me tell you why I'm going with Kalen DeBoer. There is one issue that I see with Kirby Smart, and he cannot get over the hump of beating Alabama. Alabama, for whatever reason, is Kirby's Achilles heel, as earlier this season he dropped to 1-7 against the Crimson Tide of Alabama. And with that, and because of that, with that kryptonite and the Achilles heel, I have to go with Kalen DeBoer at Alabama.
Too bad for Alabama fans. That one win was a national title game. It wasn't an SEC championship. It wasn't regular season. It wasn't post. It was a national championship game. That's why I didn't know Kirby was 1-7 against Bama. I knew he had a losing record, but I didn't know it was 1-7. Wow.
Heath, you can only say that was for the national championship for so long after you keep losing to them. I mean, at some point, that gets really old after a while. Oh, yeah, well, we beat you. That was for the national championship. Okay, but that was like 15 years ago. That was like 20 years ago. Are you still going to hang your hat on that? Come on. You've got to eventually knock off Alabama, and until he does it, I'm just not willing to call him the best coach in the SEC.
Well, I talked about this before on the show, years before on the show. Everybody's always wanting to see who's going to replace who. Les Miles was kind of running things at LSU. Nick Saban kind of comes back and takes that away from him. And so, we've always had like the greatest coach. Like it was Spurrier for a while, and then it just kind of changed. And who's it going to be next? And who's it going to be next? And so here comes Saban, and everyone's like, all right, well, who's going to dethrone Saban? Who's going to take down Saban? And no one ever did.
Right.
But the thing that always made me laugh is when somebody would beat Saban, and I'll take Hugh Freeze at Ole Miss. They were sitting there and they were talking about, it was like, this is going to be the next best program. Ole Miss fans were saying it like, Hugh Freeze is going to be the next best. He's going to be the next best. I'm like, you've got to beat Nick Saban 3 times in a row. You've got to beat him 3 times in a row to dethrone Nick Saban. Like the first time you did it, you just got lucky. I mean, Sylvester Broom beat Nick Saban. I mean, there's lots of coaches who have beaten Nick Saban.
Yeah.
I mean, it's happened before. It's happened. A lot of people thought Dabo was going to do it. Kind of what he was doing up there at Clemson, and they were beating in the postseason and all that. But Hugh Freeze did it 2 times in a row, but look where it got him. Look where he is now.
Yeah.
And I would argue to the day is long, the only reason Auburn hired Hugh Freeze is because they want him to take down Nick Saban. Like, we can give him more than what Ole Miss had. We can give him the tools. He can work his magic. And I really think that gravedigger play sank Hugh Freeze for life. But we're not talking about Hugh Freeze. We're talking about the greatest coaches in the SEC currently. And, you can twist this conversation any way you want to. This will be a fun conversation as you drive to the game on Saturday.
Yeah.
And I mentioned it before the show. You put Clark Lee at Georgia. Could he win a national title? I think he could. I don't know if he wins as many games as Kirby does, but maybe. But if you put Kirby at Vanderbilt, can he turn it around and win? Maybe. I don't know. I don't think he could, but he could. I mean, there's so many things that you've got to think about. Sark. I mean, what if Sark really is the greatest coach of all time, and he's just having a hard time getting off and getting things started there at Texas? I mean, what if Sark ends up winning the college football playoff this year? I don't see that happening.
Right.
But what if Arch Manning figures this out and lights it up and starts averaging 450 yards a game to wrap up the season? Like, I don't see it happening. But you mentioned Kalen DeBoer. No one's really talking about him being one of the great coaches in the SEC right now. And it's because I think Bama fans are they're excited. They're happy where things are going right now. But just any kind of loss, they just go off the deep end so quick. It is so volatile with Bama fans right now with DeBoer. It's just kind of crazy. But you could say this, Stephen. Everybody wants to hire Lane Kiffin. Is Lane Kiffin the greatest coach in the SEC right now? There might be an argument to it. And like I said, there's no right or wrong answer to this.
Right.
You argue to your blue in the face to your point. Anybody and everybody could. But there's a lot of great coaching in the SEC. And let me tell you, I don't know if Eli Drinkowitz is going to be at Missouri next year, but I can guarantee you he's getting a nice, healthy pay raise, whether it's going to be at Missouri or a new school. You look at guys, I mean, there's going to be a new coach at Florida. It's going to be an upgrade from Sunbelt Billy. You're going to see an upgrade over Brian Kelly. We think we're going to see an upgrade than Brian Kelly. Look, I still think Brian Kelly's a great coach, a phenomenal coach, but it just did not work. It was not a fit there at LSU. Why? I don't know. It still baffles me. But, Stephen, if you had to give me your top 3 coaches in the SEC right now, who are your top 3?
Dude, I don't know.
Exactly. That's how many great coaches we got right now. There's so many great coaches. Like, I would put Clark Lee in my top 3.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think he is absolutely phenomenal. He did phenomenal things at Notre Dame. He's doing phenomenal things at Vanderbilt. I mean, I would put Clark Lee there. I would put Kirby in my top 3. I'd probably put Lane Kiffin in my top 3. I am leaving out so many great coaches.
Yeah.
Right there. So it's crazy to think about, but it's a fun conversation to have with all your buddies. Put it in a text, your group chat, your text chat with all your buddies. Hey, who's the top 3 best head coaches in the SEC? It would be a fun conversation to have.
Heath, Let me finish up the week of the Stingray show by saying this, and I hate to bring it up and I hate to say it, but Roman talked about it in the interview earlier. The grass is not always greener. The grass is not always greener. And perfect example of that, Liberty. Hugh Freeze had a home on the mountain up there overlooking the football stadium. He could look out of his office and look up at his house up on the mountain. They were winning 8, 9, 10 games a year. Liberty had deep pockets. He had everything made, and you see where he is now. I bet you if you talk to Hugh Freeze truthfully, he wishes he would have never left Liberty. That's why I'm telling you, grass is not always greener. Lane Kiffin and Eli Drinkowitz, stay where you are because the other places demand a whole lot more than what you're getting right now. Florida and LSU expect and demand national championships, and if you can't deliver, bye, see you later, gone. Missouri just wants to cry and compete at the top of the SEC, and Ole Miss is going to new heights that they never thought possible. So the grass is not always greener. I would really, really sit down and do some soul searching before I took the LSU or Florida job, because I'm going to tell you, it will age you like nothing else if you get into a relationship with a toxic fan base like LSU and like Florida has. And here's the deal. Look at how the Auburn job, how much pressure and how much that aged Hugh Freeze just in 3 seasons at Auburn. Look at him at Liberty before he took the Auburn job, and look at him now. That is a completely looking different individual.
Yeah. I see both sides of the coin because it's just our human spirit to want more and to strive for more. And in the Hugh Freeze's case, he had a job there at Ole Miss. He was born in Oxford. He's now back in Oxford. He's close to his family in Northwest Mississippi and the Independence, Tate County, DeSoto County areas where I live. He's got family all in those areas. That's the closest SEC school. And it didn't work out. And we all know what happened. He left. And he was winning at a high level at Liberty. And I think he wanted to prove himself again.
Right.
He wanted to prove that he could do it again. But a lot of people forgot how it kind of really ended at Ole Miss. His last year, they weren't doing good at Ole Miss. That's before all the craziness happened and all the off the field issues. So, you look at Kalen DeBoer. You could say the same thing about Kalen DeBoer right now. Yeah, you should have stayed in Washington, man. You had a great thing going. They loved you here. They love the purple rain, #purple rain. That's what Washington does. Don't take that Alabama job. You can stay here for 20 years. Yeah. But you just deep down inside, you would always wonder, hey, could I have been better than Coach Saban? Could I have tied his record? Could I have gotten close? Could I have been half as good? You just always have to sit there. I think the biggest thing in people's life is regret, and you don't want to live with regret. I mean, look at Dan Mullen. He had a wonderful situation at Mississippi State. He'll tell you he had a wonderful situation at Mississippi State. His kids call themselves Mississippians. He said they were locals. He goes, my kids are locals. They were born here. Dan Mullen has been on the show multiple times, and he's talked about how they love going back to Starkville during off weeks or downtime or during spring break or whenever, that they go back and they see all their family and not even family, but friends and neighbors and folks they used to hang out with. So yeah, there's something to that. There is something to that. And for Lane Kiffin, he's magically, and I do want to use the word magically, he's magically in that age, because me and him are the same age. He's magically in that age where, look, this is a really good thing going right now.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
already tried to go out to USC and win national titles. You know, he's already gone out and done this. And it's kind of like, you know, he sees it now like, look, I can go 7-5 3 years in a row here in Oxford, and they're not going to fire me. I could go 6-6. I could even go 5-7 one year. They're not going to fire me.
No.
You know, I can stay here and build this thing up. And
but 7-5 3 years at Florida and LSU. Bye. See ya.
See ya.
On.
So
that's no.
And there's so many things. I mean, Ole Miss really kind of hit the jackpot in the lottery. And this is why I don't think Lane Kiffin's going to leave. Revenue sharing is coming to the SEC. And with all these coaching changes happening at so many different schools, you know, if he does decide to stay at Ole Miss, if he does decide to stay there, yes, I think they will be flirting with the playoffs every year. Is he going to win a national title, Ole Miss? No, that's never going to happen. And I'll eat all the crow that you want to feed me if he does. I just don't see him winning a national title at Ole Miss ever happening. Like, that's not going to happen. I mean, Stephen, if you set the bar at 0.5 of SEC titles for Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss, if it's at 0.5, I'm taking the under. I don't think he's going to win an SEC championship at Ole Miss. Like, I don't ever see him making the championship game. Yeah. And much less winning a national title? No, absolutely not. That's not going to happen. So, but can he make the playoff, you know, every couple of years? Easily. And he's kind of right there. I will say this. LSU is going to throw a ton of money and resources, and they're going to make it look like the best thing ever. But here's the catch. The Florida job, his ex-wife, who it's rumored that he's back with now, she's from Gainesville. His first date with his wife, ex-wife, is from Gainesville. He has a lot of Gainesville connections. He has a lot of family that lives in Gainesville. So all the things that you're saying about Oxford, you can say them for Gainesville as well, because it's a lot of family and a lot of family ties right there. But then here's Big Bad LSU, like, just tell us how much you want this check. Here's the empty check. You fill it out yourself, take it to the bank, come down here and be head coach. I mean, that's what we're looking at right now. Hey, it's great to be Lane Kiffin. I know that much. It's great to be Lane Kiffin right now.
Heath, that is going to wrap up the Friday edition of the Stingray Show. Hope you guys have thoroughly enjoyed it. We will return bright and early on Monday morning with a recap of all of the action from this past weekend, and then turn the page next week to the next weekend when we move closer to the playoffs and the SEC championship game. Enjoy all of your college football that begins tomorrow, and we will catch you on Monday morning right back here on social media for the Stingray Show.
Hey, Steven, guess what I'm having for lunch on this Friday?
A fried bologna Friday sandwich.
That's right. Fried bologna Friday. That's what I'm having for lunch, brother.
Catch you guys Monday morning at 8:15, and we will see you then.
Thick cut slice, little barbecue sauce and slaw. Taste the smoke already.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Ferguson of South's Finest Meats, the official sponsor of the Stingray Show, has a message for you.
Everything we do here is fresh and custom made, custom to order. You know, I tell people when they come in, you know, if you don't see what you like, ask somebody. You know, we've got the capability to process it, make it. You know, if you want a different blend of hamburger meat, we'll do your brisket blend. We'll do your chuck blend. We'll do your sirloin blend. You know, we do all that right here. We are a butcher shop. That's what we do. So please don't be afraid to ask if you don't see what you like. We can make you any size patty you want. We can make you any amount you want. You know, people call me and say, well, how many patties come in the box? Well, ma'am, how many would you like in a box? You want 12, we'll put 12. You want 25, we'll put 25.
That's just one of the many things that South's Finest Meats has to offer, the official butcher shop of the Stingray Show. We all enjoy the changing of the seasons. Fall is a special time to be thankful for our families and many blessings. It is also a great time, though, to review your insurance coverages. Alpha Insurance and hometown agent Jeff Nee can help you personalize your insurance needs. The more you protect, the more you save. With helpful customer service teams right here to serve you in Alabama and over in Mississippi, you can count on Alpha to provide the insurance plan that provides the protection that you need. For all your auto, home, life, and business insurance needs, call Alpha agent Jeff Nee or drop by his office at 202 McFarland Boulevard East, Suite 101 in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And remember, with Jeff Nee, the more you protect, the more you save. I am representing a clothing company right here in Tuscaloosa that is called J&J Apparel. If you like the Mississippi State shirt that I have on, you can find all of their Mississippi State apparel as well as Auburn, Alabama, and Ole Miss at jnjapparel.com. They are located right here in Tuscaloosa, but they also have other merchandise for other SEC schools as well. So once again, if you do like this polo that I've got on and the Walking Bulldog, go to jnjapparel.com and get all of your SEC merch right there for Ole Miss, Alabama, Auburn, and Mississippi State with J&J Apparel.